Hey, what is up everybody? Welcome back to another tutorial. I'm sorry I haven't made a video in a long time, but I'm very busy in real life. But let's get into it. This video is I want to talk about stacks, and a stack is a very important data structure in computer science that can be used to store various objects. And as you could imagine, a stack is the same thing as in real life. So if you have a stack of books, like in here, or a stack of CDs, the first book you put in or the last book you put in here is the first book you take out, and it's the same thing with the CDs in this stack. So if you want to take out the CDs, you start with the last one you put in, which makes it a last in first out structure, or a LIFO structure as you would call it. So the last element that you put in the stack will be the first element that you take out of the stack, and this can be very useful for various operations such as undo, redo. If you're working with a game, say, and you want to make a game that allows the user to undo their actions, stacks are very useful for that kind of application, and various other applications and other data structures like binary search trees and various other algorithms. So if you want to be serious about algorithms and data structures, then stacks are pretty much a necessary thing to learn. So with that being said, in computer science, it's not just a stack of CDs or a stack of books. You can store other things such as strings, other stacks themselves. So you can have a stack of stacks, funny enough. You can have a stack of arrays, you can have a stack of floats, you can have a stack of books, stack of vehicles. You get the picture in computer science or any other programming language for that matter. So with that being said, let's get to the first part of this series, which is actually getting the interface itself. And I'm going to be using Kotlin for the series. I might make another tutorial series for Java, but for this one we're going to be using Kotlin. So I'm going to go to my editor here, and I'm going to make a interface in Kotlin by saying Kotlin file interface, and I'm going to make this an interface, and I'm going to call this a stack. So it's going to make the stack.kt file here. And remember, we can store anything in a stack, so it has to be generic. So if you want to implement the stack for any object, you have to pass it a type parameter. So in this case, we'll call this E. And keep in mind, you can call this anything like V or E or T or K. But to make it simple, we want to refer to an element. An element start with an E, so we'll just say E, for element. And a stack, as you remember, has 5 different operations. One of them is called push. So you add an element to the stack. So you add an element to the top of the stack. The second operation is called pop. So you remove the last element you added from the stack. So remember, it's last in, first out. Then there's top, which also returns the top of the stack without actually changing the state of it or removing anything. Then you have is empty, which is self-explanatory. It checks if the stack is empty, and same thing with size. It checks the size of the stack. So in this case, we have 4 CDs, or in this case, we have 7 books. Okay, so that's what we're going to put in our interface. So the first method we're going to add is push. So I'm going to have a fun, and I'm going to call this push, and it's going to accept an element, and this is going to be type E. So this could be anything. You can add a float, book, vehicle, whatever object you have. And this does not return anything, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And the second method we have is pop. So I'm going to call this fun pop. And this does not take any parameter because we're just removing the top of the stacks. But instead, it will return a element of the stack that's at the top. So in this case, it will return E. Okay, makes sense? Okay, so for the top, it's going to be the same thing. So fun top. This is also going to return an element, but the implementation will be different than pop. And then there's is empty, so fun is empty. So because this is checking if the stack is empty or not, there's only 2 cases, so this will return a boolean. So I'm going to make this a boolean. And then the last method is called size, so I'm going to call this fun size. And this is going to return an integer. And that's it. That's it for the stack interface. In the next tutorial, we will be implementing this interface using different ways. And the first way I want to look at is array implementation of a stack. So in the next tutorial, we're going to look over how to implement a stack using arrays in Kotlin. So I hope this tutorial was very helpful for you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Peace.